So the distance formula uses 2 points. So we're going to label them x1, y1, just to represent there's 1 point, and x2, y2. Just like we had 2 different points in slope, but distance formula is going to tell us how far apart they are and not at what angle are they apart from each other. And to do this, it's x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1, that quantity squared, and the whole thing is the square root. So technically what we're doing is Pythagorean theorem. I'm going to show you on this so you can kind of see how the whole piece works together. So if I take the point -3, -2, and the point 5, 4, so I'm trying to find this distance here. And if I did Pythagorean theorem, I'm going to go up and over. So I'm going to look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so on Pythagorean theorem, I do 6 squared plus 8 squared and take the square root. So 36 plus 64, which is the square root of 100, or 10. So I already know what that answer should be, but I want to look at using the distance formula because sometimes our points are really far apart that it's not feasible to graph them or to see them on graph paper. My formula says, oh, I'm sorry, I wrote that as an x squared. That should be an x2, not an x squared. Sorry about that. My formula says I take my x2 value, so that's going to be 5, minus -3, and square it. Plus, I'm going to take my y2 value of 4 minus -2 and square it, and then take the square root. If you notice, I'm getting 8 squared plus 6 squared. So these are my x values, and that's saying how far apart my x is. These are my y values, and that's saying how far apart my y's are. So really, it is just the Pythagorean theorem in a different way. And the nice part about it is I don't need graph paper, and I can still get the same answer. So if you're doing things, as long as you have graph paper, you are free to use the Pythagorean theorem. And sometimes even just thinking it through in the Pythagorean theorem works for some people. Distance formula, I'm not asking you to memorize. I'm just asking you to be able to plug things in. So you're going to use whatever method works for you. And the formula, it is literally just putting in the numbers where they belong. So wherever you see an x2, that's going to be your second x value. x1 is your first x value. These are subtracted in here. So when they are a negative, subtracting a negative, it does make it a plus. And then just like the 2 legs, I square them and add them together. And then I take the square root at the very end.